Okay, so this trail I kind of just made up as I went along, but we've got the Scx10ii that we're taking out. This is definitely my most capable rig right now. I just got an axial capra that I'll start to mess around with and see if I can't get it to outperform, but for now we're with the 10.2. This rock right here is pretty slick because it's so highly traveled. It's been worn down, but the trenchers we got on are doing a pretty good job. This is a pretty fun little crack right here. You have to it's all about the back tires. So you got to work them to the inside, because if it hits the outside, it'll just scoop the tire back and straight into that cone. But if you make sure that the rear hits on the right side of that crack, then you are good to go. This one here, I have found while trying to get other rigs up it that the overdrive that I'm running, sorry for the bad angles, the overdrive makes this pretty easy, but the trick to this one, you gotta stay high driver, and that will allow the rears to stay in play instead of slipping down and into that crack. That's something, kind of a pattern. This one is a similar story, and you actually, let's see how I do here. You have to follow that crack all the way out. If you try and turn left or right too soon, it'll wash your tires into the little gully there. So coming out of that gate, there's a right turn here that I made look much harder than it actually is. I don't know what I was doing, fiddling with my camera. That's going to be the excuse I'm going with, because I ended up bringing 2 reverses upon myself. And right after we squeak through these cones, I don't throttle out and just roll right on top and got stuck. Don't know what I was doing right there. Should have been a pretty easy gate. So this gate right here is quite tricky for me right now. I stepped to the side to show you. It's pretty steep, but it's also got several little ledges that really cause me trouble. So I'm swinging around wide on this one. This is the line that I have been able to get it in the past, but yeah, definitely a tricky one. Most of the time it takes me a couple tries. So this spot leads up to a pretty difficult gate, really something you wouldn't put in a competition. At least I wouldn't because of its technicality, but just getting up this hill right here proves to be a challenge in and of itself. And this is leading up to the obstacle. You definitely have to throttle it out, but because of the bumps along the path, it often results in tipping over. So this is just my several attempts. I oftentimes just get impatient on this. Because it's tough, at least for this rig as of right now. Right here, I've got a magnetic back so that I only have to deal with the stupid body clips on the front. So this is me scooping up the back. I got a 3D printed shoe, 3D printed Nike with some magnets underneath it that just clip into the back of the bed there. So there we go, back at it. Gave myself a little boost. If you get that low, I'm in trouble. So finally, got up at terrible views that whole time. I apologize. Definitely still fiddling with the camera. Don't love it. I don't really like driving and filming, but I enjoy looking back at the progress and to see what my trucks could do with like the various upgrades and things that I do to them along the way. Right here, I decided I'd just take a full reset. Oh man, guys, I'm sorry about that angle. It's bugging me, and I know what the trail looks like. Okay, so here are the long-awaited cones. First obstacle gets you caught up right there. There's a spot that sticks out. It gets hung up on your diff, and then it gets hung up on it just high centers and makes your truck want to turn. So once you get through that, then there's a huge overhang on the left side. Hit the cone, so we'll kind of reset a hair there. So there's a huge overhang on that left side, but you have to cheat your way towards it in order to get high enough to avoid this bottom cone. So taking tons of backups to try and get situated. Got a tire way up there in the air, so I cut for you guys, cut out a lot of trying attempts just so that I could show you the line. Definitely didn't get it clean though, that's for sure. Slowly working my wheels over. Nearly tipping over there, sliding off the rock. Throttle to get over that bump, and through. So this is coming right, basically right where my truck stopped. I have to reset the cones along the way because I only have the one set of cones here. So dipping into the crack. I typically don't have success trying to transfer right over to this crack. Usually got to take a wide reset. Yep, because the passenger rear will drop down into that gully. So you can take a big U-turn over to the right side and meet up with it straight. I took it back up here. That's really just the trick, making sure that back tire doesn't fall in the crack, and then it's a pretty easy climb. That climb leads you right into a little drop, and a funky little off-camber ledge. which in and of itself isn't bad, but there is a little cliff right there, so it is a little intimidating. You don't want to roll your truck off of that one. So now we're headed over to an arch. Pretty cool. It's a pretty popular spot. A lot of people, if you're from St. George and do any rock crawling here, you have probably done this little arch right here. So it starts off climbing down to it. Want to make sure on this drop that you can go nice and slow so you don't end up falling off the ledge. So we're just gonna kind of shimmy the front end down, and then you want to keep the rears as close to that wall on the left as you can. I was making myself nervous, took a little back up. Yeah, keep them as close as you can so that you do not slide down. You can see there, started sliding, so I'm going to go ahead and take a reverse and get a little closer to that wall. Just getting a better view. So right up through there is an arch. Once I drive to a level surface, I'll come run around the other side. Alright, there's our cool little arch. It's got a perfect formation to crawl up and out of this area. So right here, I do know I got distracted trying to make sure that I was in shot there, and that's what caused that little hiccup. Up and over we come. We've got a cheetah rock to bridge the gap so that this can be a full loop. A little nerve-wracking because you have to go to the right to avoid getting the belly hung up. But then you're putting yourself right on the edge to risk falling. And that's it. This obstacle wraps up the trail. If you're still here, thanks for watching. We'll run a capper through it in future videos.